morning. Good morning, everybody. It is a strange situation that we all are in. The pace of life has suddenly slowed down, a situation that neither our older generation, us, or our younger generation has seen. It is a new war. Each day is a new learning for us all. As the spread of COVID 19 grappled the world, uncertainty became the new reality, and we are all in it together. We were wondering, how do we manage the end of the year assessment? Report cards, the class promotions, year end parties, graduation for the outgoing batches, board examinations. Slowly, we had to close down for the early years and the primary years classes and year end assessments, cancel the middle year examination, board examinations were postponed, international examinations were also cancelled. Teachers quickly reskilled themselves to plan and organize virtual classes using various online platforms that they dare not use regularly. Online guidance were given to students all across school from early years program to grade 10. The early years students completed their worksheets under the online guidance of their teachers, supported by their parents at home. Revision worksheets and assignments on Google Forms were completed as their year-end summative assessments were done by our grade 3 to grade 5 students with great sincerity, maintaining the sanctity of an examination center in the confines and comforts of home, being invigilated by their parents. Teachers of middle school and high school explored different online strategies to offer virtual classes to our students through the last 1 month of total lockdown. Students and teachers adapted quickly. The zeal and excitement of the students and teachers were at its highest. Our PE team offered online fitness program and yoga sessions for students and parents to be followed at home. But as the research of identification of antibiotics for virus continues to be on till we find a vaccine, apprehensions were crystallizing in the minds of the parents. How will the future of education look like? Is it going to be the new normal? All of us having innumerable queries lurking in our minds. We had been into discussions with our leadership team, planning for our future classrooms. When we thought about this session with Ms. Nivedita, an educational consultant for many of the upcoming schools and institutions across India, and our academic advisor, the session was chalked out. We hope this session will help many of our parents and leading teaching community in providing solutions to the many thoughts that were hovering in our minds. We launched the webinar 2 days back. What we got is an overwhelming response. Without much delay, let me take you through the flow of events. We will follow a few norms through the session. Request you all to kindly keep your video and your microphone in mute. If you have any questions that you would like Ms. Nivedita to answer, please put it on the Slido, a link for which has been shared. We will have a wrapping up session at the end. We will have the queries which remain unanswered to be answered tomorrow. At the same time, we will compile the discussion points from the 2-day webinar and we will share it with you in the next week. We hope we will be able to answer most of your concerns, if not all. It is a hard time ahead, but we will pass it. Pray, wait, and trust. Over to Ms. Nivedita.
Thank you, Dr. Ratna. And thank you all for joining on a Saturday morning. I can't even imagine what kind of a situation we are going through with millions of children out of school. It is an unimaginable situation, I must confess, in my years of being in education. We have not done this before. We don't know. And this is much more than a big experiment in online learning. What I'm seeing over the weeks, over the days that we have been discussing, that it's really a stress test of the capacity of the educators. It's a challenge for parents and students as well. There is no guidebook for this. So uncertainty looms large. It is a challenge for school leadership. As educators, we are very used to orderliness and control. But I must say, as Dr. Ratna, you must have experienced over the weeks with your teachers and parents, that both teachers and families are relying on each other to sustain the growth and development of their children. And as educators, we have been talking about it over the years, that how technology has raced ahead and education is left behind and we have to catch up with digitization. What happens now? We're suddenly into it. And the words that we were discussing earlier in education world of blended learning, learner-centered, collaborative, lifelong learners, it's just suddenly handed to us along with the uncertainty. So, well, yes, I think let's get on with the questions. I'm sure the questions must have started coming in already, because they are such top of mind questions of people. All I can say is that, well, the days are long, but the years are short. We need to be patient and persist over this pain. Yes, Dr. Ratna.
Miss Nivedita, as we went through this stage of total lockdown, we realized that there are a lot of apprehensions that are coming into the minds of the parents, even teachers. We had a lot of apprehensions also how education for the future is going to be. The one question that is coming to all of our mind with the extended lockdown period is, how are we going to have our classes? Are we going to start the academic session as scheduled, end of May, beginning of June?
That is a question in the minds of parents, educators, and definitely the education department. So, what I would say is, what over the years we have seen that education has to be kept. We cannot stop education, and now that we have figured out online learning models, it would be best that we start school as per our calendar. Children can enjoy summer vacation as per calendar. Children can start school as per calendar. Our teachers are committed to it. They are skilling for it. Boards in national boards like CBSE has looked at the syllabus. They have revised the extent and content of the syllabus. So all parties in education are looking at it such that schools must go on, education must continue. So parents do go ahead and plan for schools to begin, whether at school or at home, for teachers are there.
Another question, Ms. Nivedita, that is hovering in the minds of the parents are, can we send our students to school even if the school starts physically?
Can the school start physically?
Can the parents send their children to school even if it starts physically?
Yeah, that's a valid worry. because children of different ages will have different levels of concern. Children of different health levels will have different concerns. Parents who are working or have support at home or can or cannot homeschool at home will have concerns. So yes, it will be varying case by case. One can figure out whether you are ready to send your child to school. Discuss with your school, discuss with your school leadership, discuss with your head of school, discuss with your class teacher of how you can manage the blended learning. Schools will open sooner or later with the physical classrooms. They will have options of your child attending physical or virtual or online sessions. Schools are considering that, so you can make choices. Schools are also considering what kind of safety measures they would have in the school, and that is something that they are trying to manage. There are directives that are coming for what kind of personal protective equipment will be most appropriate for school children, for which age group, what kind of classroom seating environment would be most appropriate. Schools are working on that. Whether school transport would be appropriate, or whether personal transport would be best. A lot of these solutions will emerge collaboratively between you as a parent, individually, with the school, and I think it will be more what in principle will work for the child than what rule or policy that the school will initiate. I think education department is giving a lot of flexibility for the school and parents to make a decision.
Now, there is one more question that has come up to us is, what will happen if there is a lockdown again?
Yeah. Going the way predictions are, the hypothesis is that we might undergo staggered lockdown, staggered opening up, depending on which location the school is. There might be hotspots there, and the schools might be asked to close down. The good part amongst all of this, the silver lining is this, that the teachers and the schools are leapfrogging into possibilities of blended education. They are sorting out what best will work subject-wise, teacher-wise, school-wise, student demography-wise. What can be taught online and what would need physical contact, what can be done one-on-one, what can be done in a group classroom in online. There are schools who are also considering recording the lessons and sending to children so that they can continue opting for learning. The children can pace their learning on their own, and then connect with the teacher on phone, which because of bandwidth issues, equipment issues, device sharing between children and parents at home. So yeah, but we are equipping ourselves for this blended learning, and yeah, we can expect that there will be lockdowns. We can expect that there will be times when we will not be able to conduct physical classrooms or have all children in the school at the same time. Looks like this is the new norm.
Now, parents are also apprehensive about what happens to the social distancing, how will social distancing be managed in schools?
Yeah, social distancing, as we would need to, all the physical infrastructure will need to figure out social distancing, just like any other place. it will be even more tough in the school because our classes are for many children at the same time, and we will need to figure out whether we can put uh, how much gap would be right to put between children. Can they do games? Can they do individual games with individual equipment? Can they still play? What kind of socializing can they do? How they can sit in the lunchroom? There are pictures coming in from Wuhan where they have started classrooms which have a shield in front of the each child's desk. So at any given time, it's like how children sit during exams. The seating will be like that. The children are also sitting in the corridors because not all classrooms can have children sitting in the rows. So what housekeeping I'm sharing with attendees, if you can please put off your video and audio, then it will not filter in during the discussion. What do you say, Dr. Ratna?
Yes, of course.
Can I request everyone to put off their audio and videos, please? Thank you. Just put off your video and audio, please. Yes, go ahead, Dr. Ratna.
We have one more question, which is a very valid question. Um, Parents are apprehensive. Are the teachers trained to take online classes?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we are wondering ourselves, aren't we learning it ourselves? Because it's not just putting something online, it is how can I manage the classroom online? We have to do very rapid professional development with our teams. Um, how fast can we figure out what things are best done online, live, what things are best done send out as a video beforehand, what texts are can be done made interactive. What I'm hearing from, as I work with a few ed tech companies, I'm seeing how quickly they are equipping it to make it suitable to teachers and children, because there was a time when this ed tech was created where it is also you teach physically and you add ed tech to your teaching. But now the ed tech is fast transforming. Actually, it's a strange situation where tech is catching up with education requirement. Till now, as educators, we have been trying to catch up with the technology. So they are catching up with what is best way to do this blended teaching. So yeah, teachers will have to go through a lot of professional development, but as teachers we are used to learning, and most of us have joined the profession to make an impact and communicate with the next gen. We're eager to learn, and I'm sure edtech companies will help. I would also request parents who are savvy to come forward and discuss with their respective schools, with their class teachers, of how they can help them to learn areas of technology which will be most useful to them. Like, for example, an art teacher use will be very different from the math teachers use. Phys ed teachers will be very different from a special education teacher's needs. So it is a good time for us to learn and for EdTech to support us in learning. So yes, a lot of learning ahead for us, but we are excited, isn't it? Because we are getting to learn significantly more than what we learned about our own subject.
And Ms. Nivedita, the last 1 month has really equipped our teachers because they had really reskilled themselves, as I mentioned. We had online classes happening. And can you also see the presentation? I think someone needs to mute. Can you all see the presentation here?
Yeah, we can.
So this is a slide where the students are writing, they're taking their online classes. They also did the online Kahoot quiz that is on the left-hand side slide. Uh, this is the result of one of the completed challenges. This is one of our grade 6 students who has been supported at home by her mother. So parents were also sharing with us their joys that while there was lockdown, children were learning happily in the confines of home. So here is a screenshot of a math class. This is a screenshot of a geography class where through presentation and slide analysis classes were taken. Here we have a grade 10 student taking online assessment through Google Form. So we tried our level best to put across different strategies, different equipments that were available on different platforms to provide the best to our students through the lockdown period.
What was your learning curve, Ratna? Your team's learning curve? How did
For
that?
me, it's just it is just zoomed past. For
Is-
me, it had been a lot of learning every day, attending these online meetings with the team, with the admin team. Uh, like for me, I also started taking grade 10 classes. So getting into an online platform to teach for all of us, in fact, it had been a like huge, steep learning journey.
Yeah, and it was
Get skewed.
yeah, and it was
I'm
fast as
sure
well, right?
this will be the new norm, and I'm sure it will get flattened probably and not get skewed.
Yeah. So can we put the Slido slide again? Because I can see some questions coming up in the chat. If they can all come on the Slido slide. And also, if I may request, if you can keep on putting the housekeeping slide where it asks for the audio and the video to be muted by the participants so that we don't have it just helps the flow of the discussions.
Rajneesh, is it possible to put the Slido slides?
We'd like to keep on taking questions. Yeah. Yeah. So, Dr. Ratna, would you like
In
to?
the meantime, yes, in the meantime, I have a few more questions that had come to us through the last 1 month, and also it had been constantly coming to us. How will the assessments be done of my child's learning? So when I'm putting across this question, we actually have compiled the question across all sections of class, all groups. EYP situation is totally different from grade 10. What our experience of grade 6 to 10 has taught us, it is not difficult. Maybe we have to choose the right platform so that accessibility becomes better, but we have to really look into how best we can support the EYP and till grade 4. Also, our experience in the last 1 month supporting the early years program student, teachers had been doing video photography and giving instruction, sending worksheets home for the parents to support. So we are planning to make it better there.
Right. So I think the senior classes assessment would not be much of an issue as that is easier. for junior classes, most of the schools who are looking at progressive education are mostly anyway look at formative assessment and not summative assessment. That is, as the children are learning, the teachers test their learning in many more ways than just taking a graded test. So that will get even better. The schools who have not yet adopted year-round assessment will now adopt it even more, because you can figure out whether your child is learning or not learning in more ways than only by test at the end of the year. For the senior classes, in the IB, the middle years anyway have a e-assessment. Now the PUC had a possibility of e-assessment. The remote schools have possibility of supervised e-assessments. Timed assessments are now being looked at. A lot of national curriculum has been put through edtech companies, and I have been participating in the policy making of those sessions. They are very actively, they have almost finished the work on putting most assessments online, on mobile platforms, on tablets, on shared platforms, which require very minimum bandwidth.
Our experience also with grade 3 to 5, as I mentioned in my introductory discussion, that even 3 to 5, the summative assessment was carried out on Google Form. And the students really took it seriously, and the sanctity of the assessment was maintained. The parents were the invigilators, and they have clicked pictures and send it to us also. So even third grade to fifth grade, I think it happened quite smoothly.
Yeah, parent partnership is even more, has become even more key than it was ever earlier, to participate with their teachers in the child's education. Yeah, it makes the work harder, but who said parenting was an easy task? So yeah, so while the teachers are learning hard and fast and committing to their profession, the parents are coming forward, as I can see how well they are coming forth to work with the children.
In fact, Ms. Nivedita, many of the parents have asked us this question, how they can support the teaching learning in the confines of home. Mm-hmm. And what should the role of parents be when the child is taking the online classes?
Yeah. They have a very, very key role, and not just in one way, but in multiple ways. While the children are taking online classes, how can you arrange your home? Just as you are arranging your workspace, how can you arrange their workspace? How can you consider that? Can you consider what kind of device sharing methods you can consider? It is difficult for everybody to go out and buy one device for every person at home, since everybody is online. Is it possible for us to schedule the devices? Also, a lot of parents, as definitely this morning itself, I was discussing with one parent, people are buying off old equipment from corporates, because they are doing, a lot of corporates are doing work from home, and there are equipment available with companies. They are buying it off at much lesser price, and arranging for, they are prioritizing the spend of their family budgets on devices. So yes, a smartphone, a tablet, a used computer, a refurbished device. So on one hand, you get a device for the child. On second hand, you create a space for your child. wherever it is. In fact, yesterday a parent sent me a picture of a child creating a classroom under the dining table. So they've actually put the dupattas and a sheet over the dining table and gone underneath and created a classroom scenario for themselves in underneath. So the twins are sitting under the table and doing their classroom, and they feel that that is a setup. So allow them those interesting creative ways of setting up a classroom within home. There was a child who sent me a picture of them having them. It's a teenage, of course. They have set up their classroom in the bathroom, because that's the quietest place. So they're actually sitting inside, and doing their class. So yes, people have become very creative and finding out spaces. So parents do help them with the device, discuss creatively how you can create a space for them. Most of the children would prefer a headphone or a earphone to do their classes. And most importantly, when they are doing their class, it would be ideal if they know that you are available but not hovering. If they encompass some glitch or some difficulty, they can go out and ask you to help them with it. But rest of the time, you leave them with their peers and with their teacher, because you don't want them to become extra conscious when they are in their class with their friends and with their teachers. They have their own dynamics, and the teacher has her own method of managing the child. It also helps if you are not there, and that it makes teacher very uncomfortable if you're there all the time with your child, because it just disrupts the class dynamics. So yes, these three things: a device, a space, and some amount of privacy for the class would be very meaningful. Yes, Dr. Ratna, what can we take on next? I
Yeah,
can see many questions that have come up already.
there is a question that how do we manage this with younger students, that is below fifth grade?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Um, it is a question for both teachers and parents, actually, because teachers are also figuring out what they can manage. They don't want to, we don't want to create work to keep the children just busy. So one of the ways people are managing is by having open-ended material at home and doing a lot of learning through that. So teacher shares what on a video, what open-ended learning with a material, like for example, blocks. Basically, open-ended materials are such things that you can use in many ways, just like kitchen utensils you can use in many ways. A set of blocks you can use in many ways. Just paper and pencil you can use in many ways. Art you can use in many ways. So having a set of those, Play-Doh you can use in many ways. So having a set of materials which can be used in many ways, ask the teachers, and keep an assortment of those, like recycle, reuse material, so that as and when teachers discuss something of such kind, your children can do those at home, and you'll be surprised how much children can create with open-ended materials. We see that in the schools, in the school setting all the time. So yes, for younger children, there would be a higher requirement of parent involvement. So that is a challenge. And within home, if you can figure out how you can share those.
I think there is a request that has come from Mr. Nandish, that he is saying that there are working parents, so they will be
Right.
able to join the kids in online classes if the classes happen in the evening. We can consider it.
Yeah. I'm sure the schools what will happen is the schools are what they're considering is they're recording a lot of lessons and sharing it. See, the few things very important of a blended session is that you will be able to do it at your own pace, and that becomes very important, and the schools are considering it. Lot of lessons will be recorded and shared, and the online testing also will be there, available to do for the child to do at any pace. We have to remember that teachers are also people who have to manage their home and life balance, and thus they will also like a lot of things to be asynchronous all the time. Taking a session while managing home is very tough for for teachers. So yes, there will be classes which will be done where you have to attend at the same time, but there will be also sessions which can be done completely asynchronously by the children and the teachers at their own pace. The teachers will also create the lessons at their own pace and send it off. So the whole approach to pedagogy will be different in a blended learning situation. So yes, do rest assured that there will be classes where children can attend at any point in time, and not just during when the live session is on. Live sessions will be recorded, just as this session will be recorded and will be sent to you, and you can share it with whoever whenever they have the time. What also some of the parents are interestingly doing is they are enlisting extended family to virtually monitor the learning of their younger children. So what is happening is, like a teacher has sent a story or a text to be read aloud along with the child. The parents are outsourcing it to their uncle, aunt, grandparent, or whoever has volunteered to be a part of it. So seek volunteers within your family and friends who can monitor your child virtually, just as a teacher would. And this, I am seeing it within our campus, how it is connecting different kinds of mentors to the children. It's a very enriching experience, which would have otherwise been not possible. How many times a child can hang out with the uncle or aunt, or with an older sibling for that matter, to be mentored in a nuclear family. So it's a new paradigm. So do rest assured, and ask friends, family, and older siblings, in cousins in the family, um, extended family, to volunteer for your child. It is tough to be a working parent and to manage homeschooling. No denying that.
Ms. Nivedita, there are a couple of, like, a lot of questions are coming in the Slido.
Okay.
So what should be the duration, class duration?
Yeah. What
Yesterday
should
only,
be the class duration?
yesterday only we have shared with our parents one Google form asking for their suggestion, what they feel that it is the right duration, so that they have their full concentration. Because as adults also, we sometimes feel that when we are doing sessions online, our eyes get strained.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. And it also, what could be the ideal duration? What is coming up is that in when we are doing online sessions, a lot of these sessions will be self-paced. So you can read it as long as you wish. There will be only certain sessions which will be of fixed duration. In that situation, if you see that it's 30 minutes which suits best, do talk to your teacher, and the teachers will figure it out. As it is that the teachers will be who are doing live sessions, and they will know by interactivity whether the children are responding to it. It won't be the current form of technology. The technology will catch up sooner than later with educators this time. And if we will be able to figure out with interactivity of what duration is the ideal duration for which subject, for which age group, for which set of children.
There is one more question. Once the academic year, uh, are the classes going online? If so, how would the modalities be online? Um, to this, I will say we are working it out, and we will be sharing the rules and regulations of the online classes with the parents. If you have anything to add onto that, Miss.
Yes, I think it won't be a blanket rule for all schools or all classes or all age groups or all subjects for that matter. It would be variable, so be prepared to have more flexibility around the durations per subject, per age group. It won't be like a school timetable replicated exactly, because that won't be right. This cannot be replicated even when we do open up physical schools, at least for this academic year. It won't be like how we were doing physical schools earlier. There won't be all the children sitting in together doing things. There won't be children perhaps playing more contact games. They would be playing more individual games, not so much as group games. There would be different set of rules both for physical schools as well as for online schools. Oh, we have a poll going on. It will be a good idea for you to let us know whether you want a 20-minute, 30-minute, or 40-minute session.
Or even 60 minutes, because for the senior school, 60 minutes worked very well.
Right.
Because since there was some amount of teaching through the lecture method, there were slides, there were assessment, there was question answer sessions.
Yeah.
So for 9th and 10th, the 1 hour classes worked well. For middle school, we had 45 minutes classes. So depending on even the nature of the class or the topic, we will schedule it. Yeah. And also there had been issues about the number of classes that we will have per day.
Right. Yeah, so that's a good for us to have a poll on. Each school and class must discuss, because if we have 6 period, 7 period every day, I think it might just become too much for the children. At the same time, it depends of what kind of work is being allotted to children that they can do on their own. There might be situations when children will learn all 7 days, but for 3 hours a day. So yeah, it is all up for discussion, and it will get tweaked as we move. It won't stay static. It won't be that we make a schedule in the beginning of the year. And that's what I was talking of when I was saying that leaders and educators are very uncomfortable with uncertainty. We are used to making a calendar in the beginning of the year. We are used to allocating class numbers to the teachers. We are used to saying, okay, this is going to happen then. So there will be some things fixed, but there will be a lot of other things that would be moving around. But then that is a learning and adaptability we are preparing our children for, isn't it? If we are all going to be in the future, our children would need to adapt to it. And because our children would need to adapt to it, I think as adults in their life, we would need to adapt to the duration of the class, the kind of assessment, the pace of learning. I would like to believe that the individualized learning that will happen, which was a dream of EdTech for a long time, will become true very soon. It will be much individualized learning than a whole group learning of industrial era.
Even in that matter, the Google Classroom takes care of individualized learning.
Yeah, any kind of technology. I mean, I would not profess one particular company over the others,
Right.
but so I would desist from that. But I'm sure there are edtech companies which will come up with which things which are easier and cheaper at the same time.
Ms. Nivedita, there is one more question that is come up. What
Yeah.
kind of infrastructural changes at most of these classrooms are non-SE now can be expected from schools, including classroom setup? And how will the social distancing be managed after all?
Whatever will be the norms set out, we will need to manage. We can't seat the children in a bench. We'll not be able to seat children close to each other. We have to seat them in separate individual chairs and desks. Masks are most likely to be compulsory for a long time to come. Um, so um, there might be situations when people will use gloves.
That was another question that was coming up in our apprehensions from parents. What will be the new uniform style?
Yeah, will we all come in our masks and hoods and I don't know, the full overhaul of PPE? If that is the situation, I think a lot of time people will choose to do online sessions. Perhaps for exams, children might go in. We can hope for the best, of course. We can hope that we will be better in the next few months and we will be able to manage just with the masks. But then, as they say, that pandemics will come and go. So yeah, uniforms will go through a change. What will we wear over? It won't matter what uniform you wear. Yeah, I had one call from a guy from Tiptur who manufactures uniforms, and they said they will be putting school logos on the PPEs, and that will be the new uniform, and we will manufacture washable uniforms with the personal protective equipment for the school children. So we don't know how children will look like.
There's one more question that has just poured in.
Yes.
Will online classes be as effective as face-to-face instructions?
Yeah. That's truly a concern. That is truly a concern, and we have had mixed responses. I have heard from some teachers that it was easier to conduct online class because of there was better classroom management. Is it a new effect that the children are more managed on an online classroom, or will it be? I have also heard that for younger children it was difficult to manage the attention. Um, there is no replacement for a hug of a teacher. There is no replacement. But I also have I also think that there is somewhere sometimes even more connect online, because some children feel it's a nice private platform to connect. Sometimes some introverts have in the shy children have also found it easier to put up their questions on a chat box to the teacher than ask in front of the whole classroom. I've also heard that the child is more comfortable collaborating with other children, which was not so much possible when they were doing physical classroom. So they are actually peer collaboration, a social learning is happening much more on an online. So yeah, as with everything, we have the pluses and the minus. We hope that both the pluses and the minuses we are able to encounter quick and fast and manage it through. and work it through over time. We hope that the hugs of parents, being close more to the parents, physically close more to the parents, will compensate for what it's a teacher's loss, but it's a parent's gain, I guess.
There's a pertinent question that has come from Mr. Avinash. How to do away with boredom?
Oh, yes.
And there's one more question. Maybe you can address it together from Sultanate, Miss Sultanate Kazi.
Sure.
How will the emotional quotient be taken care of?
Very, 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 very key questions. Our children never knew what was to be bored. In my generation, we did get bored during summer vacation. We did get bored during weekends. So yeah, boredom will be a real thing, and if we let them be bored, a lot of creative and constructive things will come up. That's in the lighter vein. However, we do have to address what can gainfully occupy the children. How can they engage in life, in family, at home? Because there's a time when we made our children only students, but they are people first. So a holistic development of a child um, will happen if they interact with the world around them, with the reality, not just as a student, but as people. A lot of people have realized how much the children can contribute in thought and in action, in family and around. So that is one of the ways one will work through boredom, by engaging more physically, by just delegating and volunteering more work around life and family. Because it's a tough life for parents as well when they have to manage both work and home. I'm sure that children will see through the role modeling that the parents are doing at this time. So that will be one thing. And what was Rahmat's question?
Sultanate's question was, how do we handle the emotional quotient?
Yes, yes. How do we handle emotional quotient is a thing which teachers are also, we are thinking as when we would see the child by body language, we would figure out um, their emotional, involvement or disinvolvement or sadness or excitement, any of the state. It was easy for us to figure out. I think a whole lot of this job will now rest with the parents. At the same time, the school counselors are coming forth. The schools are scheduling regular sessions with school counselors for children to just interact with. It does not, they don't need to have an issue to be able to interact with. They just need to interact beyond their needs, just to have a chat with the counselor. We are also looking at, and schools are looking at scheduling time with teachers beyond curriculum. So when teachers will just chat. So as we also saw in the past few weeks, before the teachers started their online session, they did chat with children on how they are feeling, on how they are, um, how they are doing. There are difficult situations at home, at homes as well. That there are difficulties which children are going through, which they can't share with the parents. So yes, I think teachers have to go out extra mile to chat with the children one on one, to sort that out. There will be sessions with the parents must also seek out regular sessions for their children to discuss their just anything with the teachers, they and their special educators and counselors. And it's absolutely fine if the parent also just wants to talk one on one with the teachers. There will be more parent teacher meetings, and it's all right. And the teachers are more than, I think, happy to discuss with. I can speak on behalf of teachers and in this situation that they will be happy to come forth and counsel parents on their parenting issues that they are coming across, or their own emotional issues which they're coming across, just as co-partners in working with their children.
Miss Nivedita, I know we are running short of time. It's already 12:15, but we have some very pertinent question. So maybe we would like to quickly take them on.
We can take definitely one on, and we can save them rest for tomorrow's session. I think, would that work?
Just a few questions because they are connected questions. One parent has written, I saw the virtual party last week by EYP at Capstone. Will it be supplementing the physical meets at school? So when we are talking about the emotional quotient of children, I think it's a pertinent question that we can address today.
So I was talking with a set of school policy makers a couple of days back. So what is being discussed is that we will try to use more the precious physical time in the school for more social interaction. And we will use the online time for teaching. So I'm sure a lot of schools will understand that and will take that on, because whatever children are missing out for peer interaction, for interaction with teachers, just hanging out in the school environment, playing, those would be more focused on when the physical classrooms are open, and the curriculum will be done more online. It will come out as a policy with the couple of boards. I was in discussion with the National Curriculum Board, the policy makers, and this will come out. So it will be it will be ensured and insisted upon that the schools are more used as a socializing place, which is a big component of children's growth, and home and online will be used more as a learning space. Does that answer your?
Yeah. Ms. Nivedita, I will quickly like you to take two more questions.
Sure.
One is related to how will online classes work if the kid is not interested to interact online?
Yeah.
In my case, my son never wants to talk over Skype with his relatives or friends. So
Right.
I'm kind of worried how this will plan out. He will be starting in grade 1.
Right. For the younger children, it is a tough thing. We have to perhaps consider, and I don't have a great answer for this, as I have not. This is something which we have not done before. In fact, we have always told that keep the gadget away, and now we are suddenly telling that keep the gadget with you and stare at the gadget. So yeah, so it is challenging. Perhaps you could start with a bit of it, like engage with something that the child is anyway interested, or looking forward to something for a few minutes, and interact with it together with the child, that you and child are together playing something or listening to something or reading out something from the screen for a few minutes at a time, and see how it goes. So yeah, it is a challenge. If the children have if the child has some special needs, do discuss with the special need educators. We can share over time links with various special needs educators that we have in the schools, over otherwise. And since location is not an issue, we can share across country the special needs consultants that can be discussed with. If you think that a specific child has any special needs that needs to be addressed?
Ms. Nivedita, there are some concerns for parents, particularly of lower grades, regarding how the classes will be conducted. Maybe I will request all those parents to join us tomorrow so that
Yeah.
we can discuss at length about, because today we had been concentrating on like how we are planning to deal with the situation across school. So
Right.
maybe we can have a 15-20 minutes particularly focused on the early years program, how we can plan the session,
For sure.
because there are quite a few questions that are coming up now, that how are we going to handle this situation. Even
Right.
there has been a question that can we start, are we starting classes for the pre-primary years a little later. So maybe we can address all those issues tomorrow, and I would request the parents who are from parents of early years foundation children, you can rejoin us back for tomorrow's session. The
Yeah.
same.
Yeah. We could specifically discuss preparing the preschoolers for online classrooms, online learning. Yeah, we can do that as well, because preparation for the preschoolers will be a task.
Tomorrow it will be same time from 11 to 12, as there is a question that come up at
Yeah.
that time. So
Yes.
it will be the same time between 11 and 12 o'clock.
Between 11 and 12. Thank you.
We thank you, parents, for your response, because this is something we thought it is very, very pertinent right at this moment. And we thank our admin team and our digital partner, DigiPro, for supporting us organizing this webinar at a very short notice. And I'm sure it has been beneficial for parents. Definitely, this discussion had been beneficial for us as teachers also, because it definitely, when we discuss things across, it definitely gives us a lot of clarity.
Yeah, the more questions we have, the more better prepared we would be for starting our session, starting our next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nivedita, for being there.
Thank you, Dr. Ratna. It was wonderful going over many interesting questions that came up today. I think we will be only enriched quickly with our learning curve with all these questions.
Absolutely, it is just soaring high.
Mm.
And I think that's the only way we can learn from each other. And as we always promote, life is an experiential learning, life is a lifelong learning, and this is the right situation where we can actually talk about 21st century skills being applied, facing challenges. These are the real life challenges that our children are facing, we as adults are facing, and let us see how best we can prepare them to face more challenges for the future.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.